As the memory of Watson Brake faded over centuries, a new rhythm began to echo across the heart of the continent. The world had changed. The great ice sheets of the north had long since melted, flooding valleys and carving new rivers across the land. In this transformed world, the descendants of those ancient mound builders adapted once more. They hunted, they gathered, they dreamed, and slowly, they began to shape the land in ways no one had before. This was the dawn of a new age, an era we now call the Archaic period. These people lived between the river and the forest, balancing the old world of the hunter with the new world of the farmer. They built small camps along fertile valleys, their spears tipped with finely chiseled stones. The forests of the Mississippi Basin teemed with life: deer, turkey, fish, nuts, and berries. Food was no longer a daily gamble. It could be stored, traded, and shared. And with stability came innovation. In the warmth of their villages, they began crafting tools from bone and polished stone. Pottery appeared, not just as simple containers, but as symbols of identity. Every curve, every carved line, told a story of the people who shaped it. They also began to build, not vast mounds like their distant ancestors, but modest earthworks that dotted the landscape. These early mounds were the seeds of a civilization that would one day dominate the Mississippi Valley. As centuries passed, their relationship with the land deepened. Seeds were gathered, planted, and cultivated. Corn, squash, and sunflowers became sacred gifts from the earth. The people no longer just followed the rhythm of nature. They learned to conduct it. Villages grew, and with them came social bonds, trade routes, and shared rituals that united distant communities. By 1000 BCE, a new horizon appeared. The woodland period had begun. It was during this time that something remarkable stirred in the valleys of the Ohio River. A culture that would reshape the spiritual and political fabric of ancient America. They were the Adena people, the true heirs to the mound-building tradition. The Adena were not a single tribe, but a network of communities linked by faith, ceremony, and art. Their mounds rose again, this time larger, more intricate, more purposeful. Each was a monument, a bridge between the living and the dead. Beneath these mounds, the remains of their honored ones lay surrounded by treasures, carved effigies, copper bracelets, and shell beads carried from distant seas. For the Adena, life was a cycle. Death wasn't an end, but a transformation. The mounds themselves became spiritual beacons, visible across the landscape, connecting generations through sacred earth. Trade flourished like never before. From the Gulf Coast came shining shells, from the Great Lakes, copper, from the Appalachians, mica stones that glittered like mirrors. The Adena's reach was vast, their ideas spreading across rivers, forests, and time itself. And then, from their roots, rose a civilization even more complex, the Hopewell culture. Between 200 BCE and 500 CE, the Hopewell transformed the eastern heartlands into one of the most advanced cultural landscapes of the ancient world. Their ceremonial centers, like those found in modern-day Ohio, Illinois, and Missouri, revealed a people of extraordinary vision. Where the Adena had built mounds of honor, the Hopewell built cities of faith. Their earthworks weren't random. They were masterpieces of geometry. Perfect circles, long avenues, and vast squares stretched for miles, aligned with the rising sun and the moon's cycle. These weren't just burial grounds. They were calendars, observatories, and temples, maps of heaven drawn upon the earth. To stand within a Hopewell circle was to stand at the intersection of the human and the divine. The Hopewell were master traders. Artifacts from their world have been found thousands of miles away: obsidian from the Yellowstone Plateau, shark teeth from Florida, and copper from Lake Superior. Such a network suggests not just trade, but diplomacy, pilgrimage, and a shared belief system. Yet, for all their sophistication, the Hopewell's story, like so many great civilizations, faded. Around 500 CE, their monumental buildings ceased. The mounds remained, but the people changed. Perhaps it was climate shifts, overpopulation, or internal strife. No one knows for sure. But their legacy, like buried fire, smoldered beneath the soil of time. From the ashes of the Hopewell emerged new peoples, inheritors of their knowledge and architects of new beginnings. The Mississippian cultures, who would later rise along the great river valleys, drew from this deep well of tradition. But before their golden age, the land experienced centuries of silence, a quiet interlude in the grand symphony of history. By 800 CE, as Europe was entering its dark ages, North America was awakening once again. Villages began to cluster along the Mississippi and its tributaries. Corn, that miraculous grain from the south, had spread far and wide, revolutionizing diets and societies. Fields of maize shimmered under the summer sun, feeding thousands. And then, out of this fertile cradle, a new power rose: Cahokia. Near modern-day St. Louis, Cahokia would become the largest pre-Columbian city north of Mexico, a metropolis of temples, plazas, and pyramids of earth. Monk's Mound, its towering center, rose 100 feet above the plain, the largest earthwork ever built by ancient Americans. Cahokia was not just a city, it was a vision. Here, tens of thousands lived in carefully planned districts. Priests and chiefs ruled from atop the mounds, while artisans, farmers, and traders filled the streets below. Around them, walls of wood and clay protected the sacred heart of their civilization. The city pulsed with ritual. Ceremonies were aligned with the stars. Sacrifices and feasts marked the rhythm of life. The people watched the sky, measured time, and honored the spirits that governed the sun, earth, and river. For centuries, Cahokia thrived, a beacon of culture, trade, and faith. But like all great civilizations, its power too began to wane. Droughts struck, resources dwindled, and social tensions rose. By 1350 CE, the city was abandoned. Its mounds stood like ghosts, silent witnesses to a forgotten empire. Yet the spirit of the mound builders never truly vanished. Their descendants, scattered across the continent, carried fragments of their knowledge in myths, in ceremonies, and in the quiet reverence they held for the land. When European explorers finally arrived, they found these towering earthworks and wondered who could have built them. They did not know that they were walking among the ruins of America's first great civilizations. The mounds of North America, from Watson Brake to Cahokia, tell a story not of tribes and nations, but of humanity's timeless dance with nature and the divine. They stand as monuments to a truth as old as time itself, that every civilization rises from the earth, and in the end, returns to it. Thank you so much for joining us on this journey through time. If you found this story as fascinating as we do, please consider liking this video and subscribing to our channel for more explorations into the forgotten corners of history. We'll see you next time.